a little company called Blue Elephant Consulting. It's a fine, wonderful company and stuff like that. It's not giant, it's not great. You've probably never heard of it, but that's fine because that's not what we're here to talk about. The way I run my company is I use the internet. I use blogs to reach out and come in contact with people who are interested with the type of thing that my company does. And my blogging journey has been just that. A fumble, stumble, fall down, do the wrong thing, get back up and try and do something else type of journey. And today I'm here to share with you that journey and to share with you how I do my stuff. Okay, let's call it that way. I do my stuff. Now, just right off the bat, I am a cheap bastard. Okay? There's probably a bunch of things you could do, probably smart, bright people you could hire, really fancy tools you could buy and stuff like that. You know, I'm not, the business isn't making enough money for me to go spending a lot of money, right? Boy, when it takes off, though, I'm going to spend it like there's no tomorrow. But we're not there yet. So this particular presentation, I'm going to share with you how I've grown my little business, how I've reached out and gotten in contact with specific customers who are interested in the type of products that I provide. I'm going to share it all with you. Does that sound like a good way for us to spend a little bit of time together today? Is that good? Yeah. All right. Okay, so my claim to fame, and it's not that much of a claim, but I run 7 different blogs. Okay? So boom, 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 that's where they all are. Now, real quick here, there's really 5 blogs. I started up another one, and then my company's website is a blog. As long as I'm doing all this blogging stuff, I may as well make my company website a blog, because I'm used to it. I know the tools, I know how to do all that stuff. I could always come up with a custom designed website, but why? Because I know all this blogging stuff. So I use the technology of WordPress to create yet another blog, and that is my company website. And then you can customize it and do all that sort of stuff like that. So the company website does look different from all the blogs, but I'm using the same infrastructure, the same tools. So things like plugins and themes and all that sort of stuff like that, it all comes together. I don't have to have one mind that worries about the company website and one mind that worries about my primary product, which is effectively my blogs. How good am I at this? I don't know. This shows my Google usage for one of my more popular websites. It's the Accidental Product Manager. You can see that it's peaking around maybe 180 visitors per day and stuff like that. For my particular niche type of thing, that's pretty good, actually. So I've got maybe about 1,000 people coming to the website a week, okay? And they're coming specifically for the content that I have. So I don't really have, you know, Britney Spears did something strange come visit my website or anything like that. It's a pretty niche-y, pretty technical sort of topic. So if they show up, they're interested in what I have to say on that. So, you know, this will never be a humongous audience, but I'm getting a pretty good share of the people who are on the internet who are looking for the type of stuff that I worry about. Just in case you're missing it, it's not about the website, it's not about the blog, it's all about the mailing list. Okay? So just if you're doing a business, if you're doing anything like that, you want to capture people's names and their email addresses. Because once you do that, you know that they're interested in what you have, and you know you can reach out to them. Okay? So it's the size of your list. Now, a little caveat on this one. You can potentially build a huge list of people who don't give a damn about your product, right? Sign up for my list and I'll send you $5. Right? You know, everyone's going to sell. But I have a total list of about 7,500 people. And those people really care about the type of products that I offer. So those are good people. So if I'm wanting to sell them something, they'll listen to me. They are real potential customers. Okay, so this is good stuff. So that's my claim to fame, so to speak. So where did my journey start? It started with Blogger. Everybody know what Blogger is? Okay, great. So if you have a blog, that's fantastic. If you don't have a blog, there's really no excuse for you not to have a blog. Our good folks at Google bought a company called Blogger 100 million years ago. Blogger allows you to set up a free blog. It really takes nothing, no investment outside of some of your time to start blogging. You don't have to have software, you don't have to have WordPress, you don't have to have a URL. Zero out-of-pocket expense. Just go to blogger.com, set up your blog, and just start cranking. Now remember, the challenge with any sort of blog isn't the technology. It's you doing it. And it's not even so much you doing it, it's you keeping doing it. I think the rule of thumb right now is there's like 164 million blogs in the world, okay? The majority of those are inactive, right? Somebody gets a, beat up their butt, or somebody starts a business and says, wow, we should have a blog for it or something like that. Man, that first week, they're posting every day. Second week, maybe one post. Third week, they got other stuff going on, right? So blogs die on the vine because it's hard work to coming up with content and doing it. Nobody quite knows how to do it. We'll cover a lot of that stuff. So I created 5 different blogs on Blogger and went on for, let's say, maybe about a year. Okay, it was good. Everything was going on. But I started doing some reading. And the reading said, you don't want to stay with Blogger. If you're really going to make a go of this thing, if you're really going to use a blog to support or to grow a business, you don't want to host it on Blogger. Can't beat the price. Woo! It's free, right? But there's some downsides to it. The first one is Google's a fickle mistress. So if Google, for whatever reason, decides that you violated their terms of their contract, and who knows why, right? They can shut you down and make your blog just vanish because it's really their property, right? So maybe you were selling a product that they disagreed with, or maybe somebody had a complaint against you, because it could be a whole bunch of different things. And Google is a gigantic corporation, and trying to get somebody on the phone at Google, why did my blog go away? They'll never tell you, right? And maybe they get rid of your entire account, your email, your Blogger, your Picasso, just the whole shit match. You got other problems, but then this would really sort of suck. The second one is, you don't control your blogging platform. They provide the technology, they provide the tools, and you'll be able to use the tools that they provide you with. If you want other tools, you're out of luck. Okay? Third one is, there's limits on what you can sell. I have no idea what you'd be interested in pushing or selling, but once again, you got to be sort of careful that you don't go up against Google. If you had a search engine you were trying to push, I don't think Google would be all that happy about you using their product to say whatever. But you get the gist of it, right? There's some limits on what you can actually do. And then it's a less than optimal URL. I don't know if there's any workarounds to this, but I believe the URL for a Blogger one is my site, whatever you want to call it, .blogger.com. Right? So that's fine, but that's not going to be as optimized as it should be, right? mygoodlookingcats.com is much better, whatever. So there's a number of interesting issues. Once again, Blogger is a great place to get started, and once again, you can't beat the price, right? It's free. So if you've never blogged before, if you haven't blogged, fire it up, get going, see how it goes. But eventually, understand that you'll probably be moving off it to what they like to call self-hosted. Okay? Self-hosted. So this is my old blog site. I accidentally deleted all the images. That's why they're all gone. It now has like this little giant yellow thing that says "Stop! I've moved. Click here, and you'll go to where the." It hasn't been updated since 2008. But the damnedest thing is, I still have about 100 visitors a week going to it. It's like, well, it doesn't die. So you just have to be a little careful about this stuff. I don't know if there's actually a way to delete a Blogger blog. From Google's point of view, they've got no motivation to let you delete it, right? Because it's search. It's all search. It's content. They love content. So anyway, this is the old one. That's that. Where did I go after Blogger? Well, I went and set up my own website just to make sure that we're all on the same page here. What does that actually mean? You need 2 things. You need a URL or a web address, www.mysitename.com, whatever. And then you also need storage. Okay, you need a place to put your files. You need a place to put maybe email and stuff like that. You need all that sort of stuff like that. So there's really 2 separate jobs. You can actually get the jobs done by 2 different companies if you wanted to, right? Or you can have it all done by one company. Has everybody heard of GoDaddy? Man, do they advertise or what?
Yeah.
Okay, and they do. GoDaddy is another company. 1&1 happens to be the one that I went with. The reason I went with 1&1 is they gave me 3 free years. They had me at free, right? And I got them for 3 free years, and God's honest truth, I did nothing for 3 years. Yeah, thank you, appreciate it. And I truly didn't use it, right? So wasted opportunity on this or something like that. 1&1 does fine by me. I've got no reason to shrill them or anything like that. They're good, they're fine. Their user interface is a little bit different than most of the other ones. Everyone else uses something called cPanel. I guess, okay, yeah. So cPanel is a specific set. 1&1 doesn't. They've got a whole separate sort of thing. So if you use 1&1, you go to somebody else, it looks really weird. If you use somebody else, you go to 1&1, and it looks little, all that sort of stuff like that. Web hosting, all that sort of stuff like that. You just need to pick one, go with it. You're fat, dumb, and happy. Everything's good. All right. If you're on another site, such as Blogger or some other technology, and you decide to move to WordPress, what's interesting is the good folks at Wordpress sort of knew that this happened. Okay? They have tools built into WordPress. We won't talk about it now, but for example here, you can move from Blogger to WordPress automatically. It's got the tools to do it. So I've done a lot of stuff where I've moved WordPress to WordPress. It's great. You export it to a file, move over to the other one, you import it, and it's pretty seamless. Not perfect, but it's actually pretty good stuff. So if you're moving from one host provider to another host provider, if you set up a WordPress blog, understand you can always move it. If you're on a different technology, you can always move into WordPress. So lots of different options for what you want to do there. Just to make things a little bit more interesting. So I told you I run 7 different blogs. All right. And when I set it up, I took all the WordPress files and I installed them for 1. Guess what I did next? Took all the WordPress files and I installed them for 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. And then each one of them had their own URL or web address pointing to the very specific subdirectory where they were located at. Okay, this all makes perfect sense. I mean, that's how you do WordPress, right? And that's the way it was for years. Now, what this means is when WordPress updates their code, I would go to the first one and say update the code. I would log into the second blog and say update the code, and so on, 7 times, okay? And when my plugins updated, especially after a WordPress update, log into the first one, update all the plugins, log into the second one, update all the plugins. Not that big of a deal, okay? A little bit of a pain in the butt, but not that big of a deal. But at my core, I'm a computer scientist, and this seemed wrong on some sort of emotional level. WordPress makes something called WordPress Multisite. Okay, and these used to be 2 separate products, but now they've come together and there's really only one version of WordPress. But you can configure it to be multi-site. Okay? What multi-site means is that you have one copy of the WordPress code, but from that one copy you can create multiple blogs. Okay? It also means that when you update the WordPress code, you only update it once. You don't have to run around and do all these separate ones. There's some subtle arts to how you manage all the URLs and how you manage all the web addresses and stuff like that. But basically what we're talking about is one for the code, one depository for themes, administration, domain mapping, and for plugins. It means you only have one copy of your plugins. Question?
Are you talking about blogs that come from WordPress.com?
No.
WordPress.com.
You bring up an excellent point. Okay, so there is a company called Wordpress.com, which is very similar to Blogger, right? WordPress.com will set up your WordPress blog site for you, but they own it, right? You're on their host. They're running it. But it is a WordPress blog that you have. No. What I'm talking about is you go to WordPress.org, you get the WordPress code, then you go to your GoDaddy or your one-on-one website and you install the code there, okay? And then you run your own. So you are your own WordPress.com. Question?
I have a site with the Orgs software download, but I still have a couple of WordPress.com blogs.
Yes, okay.
So how do I...
So here's, we won't get into it too far here, but here's one thing that you could do. You could take your WordPress.org file that you loaded on your site. You could convert it to be multi-site. Okay? Then you can reach out and grab your other blogs that you have, and you could work them all into one single blog, and you can manage them as one WordPress site that has multiple blogs. Okay, don't want to get too far into this one, but just understand if you got multiple blogs, you can sort of manage them as one. I think I have a slide. This is an important one for you. So this is what multi-site looks like. Don't want to spend too much time on it. But basically multi-site looks, hey, just like WordPress, right? But notice you're doing sites, users, themes, plugins, and settings. Those are the things that you do at the big level, right? You do it once and you do it for all of your blogs. When you go ahead and you click on My Sites, what happens is then you get a list of each one of your blogs. And I can click on this, and then suddenly I'm looking exactly at my WordPress blog, just like I did forever and ever. Does that make sense? No, 0. It's just like, it's WordPress code. That's all there is to it, right? So everything, did I mention I'm a cheap bastard? It's all free, okay? There are some downsides to multi-site. Not all plugins work in a multi-site environment and things like that. A couple of things you have to be a little bit cautious and stuff like that. It makes administration of multiple blogs that are not related to each other simpler. One tiny little interesting factoid, WordPress.com uses multi-site to drive their business. Every time somebody signs up for another WordPress.com site, they fork off a brand new website using multi-site WordPress. Okay? Cool. All right. So that's my Blogger to WordPress multi-site has sort of been my journey. All right. Look and feel. So just make sure we're all on the same page here. You can use WordPress straight out of the box. You install it, or you set it up. Then you start to write your posts, you start to create your pages, and it will be perfect. You do not have to do any more work. Now, after a while, you probably start taking a look at your blog and going, that doesn't look very sexy. It doesn't look cool. It doesn't look cool like all the other kids' blogs. I would like it to look cool like all the other ones.
That's right.
And you start saying, I would like to customize the look and feel of my blog. And the way you do that in WordPress is by choosing a theme that you use. A theme is colors and fonts and images and places you can stick stuff. That's all it is, okay? Lots and lots of companies make themes. There's a zillion free themes out there, not a problem with that whatsoever. And there's a lot of companies that make a very good business selling paid themes that do fancy sorts of stuff. And it is a religious discussion. We will not get into a religious discussion. The themes that I use on my blogs come down to three. One is one called My Style, which is created by a company called Woo Themes. I mentioned I'm a cheap bastard, right? Woo themes are actually sort of expensive. They're like 99 bucks or something like that. This one's free. They have a set of free themes, obviously, they're trying to get you. If you like this, you'll like this other one, right? Okay, but so that one's free. The other ones that I use are from a company called DIY Themes, but it's called Thesis. And I have two versions of it, version 1.85 and version 2. Version 2 is a version that came out just a little while ago. It's brand new, it's radical. It sort of sucks. You can do anything you want with a theme. Complete and total control. But it's like trying to drive a car with wires. And you've got to pull on this wire and do that wire. So it's a pain in the ass to use. 1.85 was much simpler. It was like, hey, what color would you like to have? Well, just click, 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 you're good to go. Once again, it's a very religious type of thing. I use these ones. Now also over here is 2013, which is the default theme that comes with WordPress when you install it. 2013, get it? Guess what? They're going to have a new one next year. Guess what they're going to call it? Yep. All right, sorry. So themes are very specific to what you want your blog to look like. Okay, and that's cool. You pick, you choose, you go with it. You can spend a lifetime worrying about whether or not you have the right theme, whether or not you have to change it, or whether it's converting. Well, screw it. Just pick one and move on, okay? Because it's not about the themes. Okay, plugins. So WordPress by itself is a very powerful piece of code. Yay, fabulous. You don't need any plugins. Okay, you can live your life completely, totally satisfying without any plugins. That being said, after you use WordPress for a little while, you'll be like, I wish it did this, or I wish I didn't have to do that. Good news, fabulous open source community, a lot of people writing really cool code, a lot of people here today writing really cool code. You can get their code, dear God in heaven, download plugin, you're good to go in about, 30 seconds, right? You're up and running. So these are the plugins that I use, and whenever you get WordPress people together and they start talking about plugins. So we're going to run through the list very quickly. Here's a little trick. You want to minimize the number of plugins that you use. Okay, it's extra code. It can have incompatibilities with WordPress or with other plugins. You open up the door to screw in stuff up. The more plugins you have, and you also slow down your WordPress site. So the goal ultimately is to use as few as possible. Akismet is one that everybody should have because it takes care of spam, right? It's very nice, allows you to just have it. I think it might come default.
Yeah.
Does it? Yeah, okay, so we're good with that. Google XML site maps. Google will build basically a map of all your pages and stuff like that, and then it will give it to Google, what makes it easier to index your website. So that's a very good thing like that. FeedBurner, everybody know what FeedBurner is? Gives everybody a chance to subscribe. So every time you update a post, somebody gets like an email or something like that. Okay, that's good stuff. Google Analytics. All right, that's got to be a good thing right there. This is Google Analytics for the multi-site thing. InstaBuilder is a paid plugin, we'll talk about here in just a moment, that allows me to make something called a squeeze page, which allows somebody to go, okay, oh, I've got to buy whatever the hell the product is, right? It was valuable enough to me that I actually bought it. Jetpack by WordPress.com. The good folks at WordPress.com have, it's a collection of a bunch of different things. I have it because one of theirs is a really neat bar graph of your usage of people visiting. Online backup, you should always back up your WordPress site, you know that. The database is probably the most important thing to back up, because you wouldn't want to lose that. OpenHook has to do with my thesis thing, allows me to control it. Paid Membership Pro, it's a membership site. So you can turn your website into a membership site. Paid Membership Pro, it's free. You can pay a lot of money for different types of things to do this. This is a good, I'm still early stages of this, so I'm going to start on this. Sociable allows people who visit your site to go, wow, that's cool, post it to their Facebook or post it to their Twitter. Subscribe to Comments Reloaded What it means is if somebody comments on one of your blog posts, and then somebody comments on their comment, or somebody else comments, they get an email. So it's not like I commented and then I never saw it again. Now it's going to keep them in the loop, is basically what I'm going to do. Text links ads is an agreement I have with another company to put some ads on my sites, and that's their little plugin to manage that. Twitter for WordPress, hey, you like it? Okay. Ouija countdown, literally is that. It's a countdown timer. I have that in place because I'm planning on doing some product launches, and I want to have a page that's like, you've only got 4 hours left, bye, bye. Okay, that sort of stuff like that.
What is that?
Yeah, so it's UJI countdown. What would South Gordon do is actually a great little one. When people visit your website for the first 2 times, it pops up a little box and says, hey, if you like this one, why not sign up to get my RSS feed? So that's easy to do. WooCommerce is my e-commerce solution. Going back to our original theme of this whole presentation, I am okay, WooCommerce is free. Okay. Yeah. Did I mention I'm using the Woo theme that was free? Okay, guess what works really well with WooCommerce? Come on, stay with me. Yeah, you see the thing. All right, you got it. All right. WordPress importer was really important to me a little while ago when I was moving all my stuff to Multisite, because I had to import all the stuff. WordPress MU domain mapping. What that means is that, so I've got this Multisite thing. It allows me to map my wwws to the specific right blog. So it just allows you to make sure that everything goes to the right place. Super Cache, it caches your web pages, so when people request a web page, it goes faster. It doesn't have to build it on the fly. It already has a copy of it. WP Touch mobile plugin is actually pretty important. If somebody accesses my website on a mobile device, it detects it and it reformats it. So really, it's just really simple, sort of like blog posts, as opposed to all the other crap that would go along with it. But it makes it readable, it makes it very easy to just see what they want to see. So everything is what it is. And then yet another related post plugin means for every post that I do, it scans all my other posts, and it says, hey, if you like this post, here's like 3 others that are sort of related to it. That's common words. So once again, these are all the plugins I use. It's a religious discussion. They may or may not be right. Don't know, don't care. But these do it for me. These are all, with the exception of InstaBuilder, these are all free. Woohoo! Okay? That's the most important thing from my point of view. So what extra software do I use with my blogs? And remember, you can go crazy here. If you've got extra money that you'd like to get rid of, there's a number of companies out there that would be more than happy to take it from you. Go for it. Alright, so remember, if you're running any sort of blog or any sort of website, it's not the blog, it's not the website. That doesn't matter. What matters is the mailing list. Okay? Collecting people's email addresses and their names and stuff like that is the most important things, because those are the people who are interested in your content. And once they give you your email address, you can reach out to them. You can reach out to them to tell them about something that's going on, to sell them stuff, to do stuff like that. I use a company called Aweber for this. A lot of different companies that do this sort of stuff. Aweber actually does a pretty good job of having a good relationship with AOL and Google and those other folks. So it does not appear as though their emails get thrown into the spam buckets or marked as spam. They're pretty aggressive about what it takes to add somebody to your mailing list. It's a 2 thing. So if you sign up for one of my mailing lists, which is managed by Aweber, what happens is you're not on the list. Instead, Aweber sends you another email that says, hey, I think you signed up for this. Could you confirm it? Okay? So it's like a double opt-in, I think is the power phrase. If they confirm it, then they're good, and they're in. I also couldn't go out and buy a list and dump it into my Aweber list. They don't accept that to happen. So what does it mean? It means that everybody who's on my Aweber list is actually pretty well vetted, that they're actually really interested in what's going on. Thesis is the theme that I purchased. It's actually a very good theme. I enjoy it very much. The 2.0, it's a little crazy. Tons of control. You can do a lot of stuff. You can modify your WordPress theme without having to code. That's their promise. What they didn't say is you have to have an extensive knowledge of CSS. Okay, no coding, lots of CSS. I don't know if that's really fair, but it's crazy, but once again, it's a religious thing. I told you Woo themes and WooCommerce. What it was is I needed an e-commerce solution. I wanted to set up a store as part of my blogs. Okay, cool. A lot of different ways to go about doing that. WooCommerce is actually a pretty good solution. It turns out that their themes are designed to work with their e-store. So they sort of had me, right? So it's cool. So I went and I found a free theme for WooCommerce. At some point in time I may purchase a fancier one at some point in time, but this works for me for now. And then InstaBuilder. InstaBuilder is a plugin that allows me to build what's called squeeze pages. So if you want somebody to go to a page and you want them to do something, buy, click, sign up, whatever, doesn't matter what it is, what you need to do is create basically a squeeze page that has no distractions and a very specific thing you want them to do. And that's what Instabuilder did for me. And it was, I think it was like $77, and I can use it on as many sites as I want. I think for 49 bucks I can use it on one. Okay, so that's it. That's all the software I use, okay? So it's not quite zero, but it's as close to zero as I can be. Okay. If you're doing any sort of blogging for business, for personal, anything like that, creating a blog and putting it on your website is a fantastic first start. But if you stop there, you're only going to get 10% of the value. Okay? Because you're hoping somebody comes by your blog, and you're hoping somebody reads it, right? Come on, please, please. Okay? And it can be a long time before anybody comes by. So what you need to do is get the word out about your fantastic, wonderful blog post. Okay? And that responsibility is yours. Yes, Google will crawl your site. Yes, Google hopefully will find it. Okay, and yeah, organic search and all that sort of stuff, and wow, I found it on Google. Yeah, that's lovely, but you can't wait for that to happen. So get off your butt and use social media. All right? Now, social media is about this wide right now, right? You can spend, from here until, the end of time signing up for new accounts and doing everything and everything. Here's my best guess at where the greatest value for you is going to be in terms of social media. So obviously, Google Plus, right? It's Google. It may not be the #1 site now, but it will be, right? Okay. By the way, if you can get your information into Google more, who wouldn't do that, right? Easy in Articles. Have you guys heard about Easy in Articles? Look, you wrote the blog post. You've written the article. All you really got to do is copy it over. It's not that hard to do. Easy in Articles got actually hit sort of hard in a Google update because some people were doing goofy stuff. But of all the places where you can post articles, they're probably the best site. Okay? Pinterest, you guys familiar with Pinterest? You better have an image though, right? What's interesting about Pinterest is the users are 84% female. Okay? So depending on what you're doing, okay? Now also it seems to be food and fashion. But what the heck, throw your hat in the ring and go for it, right? Depending on whatever you're doing. Delicious, a little bit of a holdover. It used to be sort of like a tech sort of website, sort of stuff like that. I still do it. It might be more of a historical thing than anything else. Article-based is very similar to Easy in Articles. As long as I'm doing Easy in Articles, I may as well do article-based. It's really just taking the same text that I put into my blog post and just copying it over there. Okay? And I post it there. Tumblr. You know about Tumblr? Tumblr basically is this simple online blogging thing. It's really popular. So why not create like a little link? Hey, first paragraph of whatever your post is, and then a link back to actually your website. Rock and roll. Let's go for that. Facebook. Don't even have to talk about that. Twitter. Once again, only 140 characters, but that's probably the title of whatever your blog post is, right? With a link, probably shortened, right? Thank you, Tiny. Okay? And then also LinkedIn. LinkedIn for me is huge. In LinkedIn, you can join up to 50 groups. Okay? Join the group for whatever topic you're involved in, right? And then, when you've got a new blog post, go on there and say, hey, I've got a new blog post, here's it is, and you put a link to it, right? And then, of course, my personal favorite. So I've been doing this blogging for a while, and it dawned on me, I've already written the book. That's not the issue. It's just a matter of doing some editing, right? Roughly 12 blog posts of, let's say, 600 to 800 words makes a 50 to 60 page book. Wow. So, and by the way, CreateSpace is the Amazon.com self-publishing platform. We're not competing with Stephen King here. Okay? What we're doing is we're cranking out a book. In my case, here's the fun part, a book a week. Okay? Because I've got the inventory of blog posts. Alright? What it means is also if I'm working with a customer, or if I'm doing a presentation, I can say, hey, I've got a book on whatever the hell the topic is. How about if we provide it to your attendees? Or maybe I'll send you a free copy just to, as my credentials for you selecting me, or whatever. $2.15, I think, is what a book from Amazon.com costs me if I buy it for myself. I sell it for like 10 bucks. I will not get rich off this. This isn't the purpose. But I've written the damn blog posts. I may as well turn them into a book, right? That, it's not like, wow, I've got writer's block. It's already written. Best I can have is editor's block. Oh, I don't know. I have to go back. And once again, if I use all open source images and all sorts of shit like that, it's just a matter of dropping it in. It's really, let's say, 2 hours to create a book and I'm done. All right? Well, that's interesting. Social media can get out of hand. on Easy Magazine articles. I'm a platinum expert author, thank you. Because I've published over 1,000 articles. Wow, that sounds really impressive. It just means I've written 1,000 blog posts. Okay? And just every day, take and pop them up, take and pop them up. I own a bunch of categories on Easy articles. Because I'm the best, I'm the smartest, I'm the greatest? Absolutely not. I'm unstoppable. Right? Every week I'm cranking out another one. All these other people apparently have a life. Okay. So, remember, setting up a blog or having a blog as part of a business or personal or something like that is easy to do. Getting started is very simple. Getting pregnant is very simple. Raising the child is quite difficult, okay? Same thing here. So, how do I go about writing a blog post? Very simple. I include one picture. Just a chunk of text is going to be extraordinarily boring for anybody to take a look at. So, every single one of my blog posts has one picture, okay?
Can I stop you right there?
Yes, you can.
Where do you get that one picture?
Flickr. So here's the trick. Go to Flickr, search on a subject, then go to Advanced, upper right-hand corner. Go down, Creative Commons License.
Okay.
Okay? Click on that. Poof. Those are pictures that people will put into Flickr that say, hey, go ahead and use. Grab it, but then also include a link back to the person who did it. Okay? And you're kosher. Everything's good. No cost. Okay? There's another one called Morgfile, morgfile.com. Great site. It's got images. It's not as extensive as Flickr, but same deal, right? Free images for you to use. Okay? One picture. I include 2 links. Question.
Do you partner with any photographers? Because you said you have fairly specific.
No. And it might just because I'm not that smart, and I don't know any photographers who would be taking pictures specifically in the areas that I'm at.
Well, you said you found them on Flickr, so you could use those for that.
Yeah, you're right, but every single one of them comes from a different person. So I don't, to the best of my knowledge, and I don't take a close look at this, I don't think I'm going back to the same person. Dear God in heaven, every single one of them is different. Railroads one day, and then like people in despair the next day, and then a question mark the next day. And it's all over God's green earth, right? Does that make sense? But that is a very cool thought if somebody did something, but I'm not that cool. I include 2 links in every single one of my blog postings. Okay? And one link goes to a relatively popular website. Wikipedia is one of my favorites, right? It's got a high ranking. Okay, now I've got a link to a high ranking website. That's got to help in SEO, right? Then another one of them links into my blog. So I will link to a previous post that I did, right? Which gives it a little bit more juice from me, right? So 2 links per post. That's not too much. It's probably not too little, and it's designed to help with the SEO just a touch, right? And it's easy to do. We're not going to talk together, right? I include my SEO terms in my blog posts. Oh, that's such a pain in the ass. I've got like 3 terms per blog, okay? And every single post, I'll go back and work those terms in. It's a little. How to make it not look really clergy, right? But basically, it means every single one of my blog posts will contain my search terms once. I'm not going to overload it. I'm not going to do anything crazy like that. But they'll all be in there, right? My blog posts are somewhere probably between 650 and 800 words long, which is, what do you think, a screen and a half? Maybe worth of information, maybe 2 screens or something like that. Long enough, but not too long. I guess that's what I'm shooting for. 3 parts: an introduction, hopefully to grab, to sort of pose a question or sort of, grab your attention. Then there's a body where I actually go into whatever the heck I'm going to talk about. And then I have a wrap-up session. The wrap-up section actually really sort of says what I already said in the blog, right? That's all there is to it. So, I am a machine when it comes to producing blog posts. Okay? I will produce 1 blog post per day of roughly 650 to 800 words. Bam, bam, bam. Day in and day out. I do not stop. Okay? Remember using articles? I got about 1,000 articles on that. Boom, boom, boom. Every single freaking day. This is what I do. Okay? And it's that keeping at it that is the trick. You have to be tenacious, right? You start a blog, you keep doing it, boom, boom. All right, here's a sample blog.
How long does it take you?
What's that?
How long does it take you?
We'll get to that. Excellent question, excellent question. Embarrassing question, but excellent question. We'll get to that in just a minute. Here's just a sample blog post. Remember, this is not Stephen King, okay? But note the one image. Also, to your question, in this one I was talking about, this was for like IT professionals, talking about the power industry is collecting a lot of data. You're seeing a lot of data, they don't quite know what to do with it. Wow, it's a job for the CIO or for IT managers to struggle and figure out what to do with it. That's the gist of it. But anyway, so I've got a picture of like a tension wires, because that's electrical industry, right? Image credit, see down here? That I'm giving credit to where the source came from. on Tumblr. Here's one link popping up all of a sudden, and I'm not sure that might go back into me. And then down here, have you heard about the smart grid? I'll bet you $1 that goes to Wikipedia, smart grid, right? So that's all there is to it. But that's effectively what a post on my blog looks like. And you can, it's formula, okay? Wow, you don't have 100,000 viewers in your last post? No! Because if I was really shooting for really great blog posts, it would take me forever to write those. And I'm on a schedule here, one a day. It's got to crank out. I cannot be looking, they're okay, they're fine, they're on topic, they're quasi-interesting. Sometimes I do a really good job. Other days I do okay or adequate job. Fine, we move on. Oh, that wasn't really my best writing ever. Fine, I'll get to it next week. Okay, that'll be just fine. Okay, always end a post the same way. So this is the end of how I am. So let's see what we got. We got my name. We have a link to my company website. So remember, they're reading a blog post on a site that has to do specifically with a particular topic. Great, that's fabulous, I appreciate you came here, but that's not what I want you to do. I want you to go to my company website and perhaps buy some products having to do with this particular topic. I also put a little question here, right? With the thought being, let's go ahead and sort of jumpstart comments. Hey, what do you think? Was this a good idea? Should you do that? Or whatever, okay? I have a link here, so you can go ahead and sign up for my RSS feed. So you found my blog once, click here, you never have to find it again, because I'll be sending you emails about what's going on. I have down here PS, because by the way, if you don't know, copywriting, PS is very important. Wait, there's more. Okay? What I really want you to do is sign up for my newsletter, because if you sign up for my newsletter, guess what I get? I get your email address, right? And oh, by the way, if you expressed an interest in a very specific product, and I will send you something every month, okay? And when I want to sell you something, I'll send something to you also. Click here for that. And then notice I have down here, what we'll be talking about next time. So I give a little paragraph that says what my next blog post is going to be about to hook you, to make you want to come back. And how can I do that? Because I've already written that blog post. Okay, so I just grab the first paragraph, drop it there, and I'm done. By the way, at the bottom of the post, see, this is the sociable stuff that we talked about. Remember, there's that plugin, Be Sociable? It's right there. So hey, if you like the blog post, click on any one of these brightly multicolored buttons and tell the whole world about it, right? Okay, this one's actually doing pretty good. What, 5 tweets and 4 likes? What the hell? The stuff I read about is really boring, so I don't know what these people are doing. Related posts is all, this is done by a plugin. Okay, so remember it said, hey, whatever that topic was, you know, innovation, ride the economy, all that sort of stuff like that, it finds other blog posts that have probably common keywords. It says, if you like that one, go here. Remember, I'm trying to get people to stay on my site and read my stuff and say, wow, he's the cat's meow. He's just the smartest guy in the world. And then down here I also have my tags, right? So tags are really my gift to Google. This is what my blog post was about. If somebody searches for any of these things, please send them to my site. Thank you very much. All right, Google Analytics is your friend. I must confess, I probably don't use it enough. I probably don't understand it enough, but I do know that it's very powerful. So I've included all the code, which is really simple to do, in WordPress. I've set up my Google Analytics account. This shows sort of like how much, I think over 90 days, visitors I have, new versus returning visitors, and also where in the world they come from. The US is hot, Canada's hot. You can't really tell here, I'm sorry about that. Africa, not so good, and parts of Central America. All right, parts of South America, I still have to work with Brazil. A tricky market to break into, but that Portuguese translation is coming along real soon. So, all right. So once again, it's easy to do in WordPress. You just basically include a plugin, okay, and you're good to go. You'll start collecting your Google Analytics stuff. Schedule posts in the future. You can't actually read it because it's way too small, but this post will actually be posted on May 5th. 2014. I'm about 8 months in the future on my posts. I could get hit by a truck today, go to the hospital, recover, come out, and pick up, and people who read my blog posts would never know, right? So it's just because, once again, I'm a machine. I crank it out, I crank it out, I crank it out over Christmas, I crank it out over Easter. I will shut down my blog over Christmas and say, hey, I'm taking a vacation. I'm not really. I'm just getting ahead of the game, right? Okay? So I've got a truckload of blog posts stacked up. But also, when I say, hey, this is what I'm going to be talking about next time, I really am going to be talking about it because I've already written it. Probably about 7 months ago, right? Okay, so they're having a backlog to what's going on makes your life a little bit easier. If you're trying to write it every week, you're going to feel under a lot of pressure. I don't feel under any pressure whatsoever, right? You can sell ads on your blog. Yay! You're going to be a fabulous, wonderful multi-millionaire once you open up that door, right? No, not really. Okay, so look, I do this because of course you do it. So two types. First off, these are specific ones where people have called me up and said, hey, we like your blog, we'd like to go ahead and put our customers' ads on your blog. Really what they're trying to do is get SEO juice for their customer website. That's fine, that's all good. And then down here you can see just a little bit of Google ads. Right? So Google says, hey, if you display our ads and people click on it, we'll give you a little bit of money. Yay, fabulous. How much money are we talking about? Here it comes, this is the crazy part. So apparently I earned 6 cents yesterday. When I grabbed this, I had earned 4 cents so far. This month has been a fantastic month. We're at $7.93 last month. Doing a lot better this month, I might point out. We've got $74 waiting in the bank for me, and they'll give me a payout and once I hit $100.
I just want to confirm that decimal is in the correct place
Yeah.
to see, right?
Yes, yes it is. You know, this isn't really even beer money. Okay, every 3 months I can have a $100 party. Woohoo! Okay. So I do it because it's easy. I do it because it doesn't cost anything, and they send me $100 every 3 to 4 months. Okay, I'm not going to say no to that, but yes, sir.
Just take care of your hosting.
Good question. I don't actually have a good answer for that. I can tell you, I keep track of how much I spend and how much I make. Where I stand now, after probably about 4 years, is I've made $7,000 and I've spent $5,000. So I'm about $2 grand ahead. Okay, so I would say we're right at sort of a okay. This probably doesn't quite make up for my hosting, just because the Aweber stuff cost me like about $50 a month because I've got X number of names and stuff like that. So can you do ads? Yes. And if your website's more popular than mine, you might make more money than me. But just if you need a stick in the ground for how much you're going to make off of advertising, this gives you a starting point. $7. This is a squeeze page. Remember we talked about it. So the whole purpose of this page is to get people to go over here, put in their name, and an email address, and then we're good to go. Poof. We're just like that, right? This is to get people signed up for my newsletter. That's the whole purpose of this particular one, okay? And it's all about the mailing list. It's not about the blog. It's not about the website. It's all about the mailing list, because once you have their email address, you can reach out to them, and you can pitch them whatever you're trying to pitch them. Okay? If they're just dropping by and you're hoping they do something, they're probably not going to do it. It's like 7 times. People have to be exposed to something 7 times before they make a decision to do it. One visit to your blog or website isn't going to do it. Grab their email address, you can make the other 6 happen. Time management. To your question, sir. How long does this all take? This was awkward. All right, so 1 blog post per day. I break it up into 2 parts. I do like a 30-minute, I'm going to create the shell or the outline of it. I do that the night before. Day of, I actually write, let's say, the body of it. Probably takes about another 30 minutes, realistically speaking. So that's about an hour a day. Posting 5 blogs to the websites, because remember, I write my stuff in Word, just because it does a better job of spell checking or anything else, right? I don't have to worry about any sort of delay doing it online, crap like that. So I write it in Word. That means I also have to upload it, okay? And I have to upload the image that goes with it. Not a big deal. No, not a big deal whatsoever. It probably takes me about 15 minutes or so, 30 minutes probably, to do it for 5 or 6 blogs per week, okay? Spam, comments, updates. You know, blogs require some maintenance. I probably get about 1,000 pieces of spam per blog per week. It's not a big deal. You just have to clean it out, right? It takes a moment or two to do. I get updates to my plugins. I get updates to WordPress. Not a big deal whatsoever, but you got to take care of this sort of stuff. Once again, probably about 15 minutes or so per week. I crank out a newsletter, 1 per week. It probably takes me about an hour to put that newsletter together. 1 book sales letter per week. In other words, I'm trying to say, hey, look, I wrote a book. Why don't you go ahead and buy it? That's probably about an hour or so. Daily social media updates, probably about 30 minutes per day. Twitter, Facebook, Delicious, all that sort of stuff. It's about 30 minutes or so. Total time per week, my best guess, 8.5 hours. Start to finish. Okay? Spread across the week. Sorry.
When you're hitting daily social media updates, are you tapping those separately? Are you using Hootsuite or Buffer or anything like that to do it?
I am visiting each one of those sites and typing in my stuff myself. So there's no fancy automation going on here. It's me visiting Facebook, me visiting Twitter, me visiting each one of them, dropping in probably the title, probably a link, and probably some tags or keywords. And maybe just a little description of what the blog post is about. Poof. I'm in and I'm out. Total time on, for example, Facebook would probably be about a minute.
Why do you do that instead of using like a Hootsuite?
Because I don't think I'm aware of what Hootsuite can do for me. Okay, another thing I also do is I do a lot of LinkedIn updates. Remember, 50 groups, right? All right, so I'm hitting those. And those take a little bit more finessing, so you don't look like you're spammy.
Do you use a social CRM?
No, I do not. So I probably do it the crudest way possible, which is me doing it, right? But that is the way I
Is
do
it
it.
a free tool?
Yes.
Hootsuite, there's a lot of benefit to scheduling with Hootsuite, but
Schedule your
because you can schedule all those things, but there's a downside to it, and then I'm one of those ones I believe in actually doing the post yourself, because if you ever post something in the current news of the day or something happens, you know, say all of your things are scheduled to go out when some sort of tragedy happened or something like this. So there is a benefit to manually doing it when you can.
Gotcha. I'm all cool with that. I'm also cool with anything that takes an 8.5 down to 7.5. That's cool. Number one rule of blogging is write. Okay, so that ultimately that is the key thing here, right? So it's really easy to start a blog. Okay, it's really hard to keep a blog going. Blogs are people go back and forth on it, but remember, a blog entry lives forever. It really, truly does. You know, my most popular blog entries were written probably 4 years ago at this particular point. And just for some reason, it just strikes, you know, that's what people search for or interested in and what have you and stuff like that. So the concept here is, if you start it, keep at it. And it's basically a learned behavior, right? If you're not doing it now, it's not part of your normal day, but if you set up to do it, keep your eyes open for stuff that you can write about, it makes life a lot easier. Question?
If we email you with our address, would you send us a copy of what we did today?
Yeah, you have a presentation itself? Yes. So my email address, and I apologize, I put it on an updated version of the that didn't work out. It's very simple. So it's going to be Jim, J-I-M, at, it's going to be 3 words all stuck together, blueelephantconsulting.com.
And how can we help you?
That's a good question. I have no idea. I'm open
Share
again.
blogs.
Take a look at any of my blogs. Blue Elephant Consulting is my main blog. All right, go take a look at it and stuff like that. If you have any comments, I'm wide open to comments, and I'm always making changes. Now remember, I'm not Richard Branson yet. Okay? Your treat today is you got to meet me before I became globally famous. Okay? But so this is all work in progress. But hopefully I've been able to share with you some insights into sort of where I started. Hopefully you understand where I'm at and sort of the tools and the techniques I've used to get there. It's not all perfect. It is certainly not a story that's complete yet, but it is definitely a story that's in progress. And once again, my claim to fame, you can't beat the price. All right? Cool, guys. I think that's it. If there's any questions, I'm here. I can answer. We've done the question journey. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of our podcast. Thank you so much, everyone.